nachokera kumubana banzanga napeza kalata patebo nachokera kuli mukazi weneze naye kudala ati muli gwanji badati mulina mwana na myaka 2 ineno sokonezeka ati ni bichani bichitika pa mbwe mukati mwenze na picture ya mwana destiny yangane mushe nze mwana mwamuna mweo kumanja ya maibake apa pa picture pa shota ine mbenenze pose mbenze banja ati baby tibweze chikondi gero pete kamanja ti ona na wama manje unipuna nichaniwe pamene ni nani nawe suna nisunge mushe manje manitenga pasapwela pwela kunyumba usani unongera chikatiwe gaufuna ona mwana wako uzamupeza kule makolo wanga koma mami sendo nani uzai ati mwana enze munjirai zembe ninasiya masoverai zembe ninachinja mokusumirai enze mupana manje nakula nachikondi mumutima chakula uyo mwamuna wako sumukonda mwamene wenze kunikondera lile mwamwai nakupeza era watoa monga nizuwa ati banji tipwezane nakwela niuza ati ona wama manje unipuna nichaniwe pamene ni nani nawe suna nisunge mushe manje vanitenga pasapwela pwela kunyumba usani unongera chikatiwe gaufuna ona mwana wako uzamupeza kule makolo wanga ona na wama manje unipuna nichaniwe pamene ni nani nawe suna nisunge mushe manje vanitenga pasapwela pwela kunyumba usani unongera chikatiwe gaufuna ona mwana wako uzamupeza kule makolo wanga iwe ine mwana watu ise chikondi panja latu kanizapo mame kanizapo switi iwe na mwana chalo changa kawipita mamusanga kanizapo mame kanizapo switi iwe ine mwana watu ise chikondi panja latu kanizapo mame kanizapo switi iwe na mwana chalo changa kawipita mamusanga kanizapo mame kanizapo switi ona wama manje unipuna nichaniwe pamene ni nani nawe suna nisunge mushe manje vanitenga pasapwela pwela kunyumba usani unongera chikatiwe gaufuna ona mwana wako uzamupeza kuli makolo wanga ona na wama manje unipuna nichaniwe pamene ni nani nawe suna nisunge mushe manje vanitenga pasapwela pwela kunyumba usani unongera chikatiwe gaufuna ona mwana wako uzamupeza kuli makolo wanga
Good evening, viewers. My name is Himba Malambo. Once again, welcome to Ubuntu channel. This evening on NSAKA. We are sorry for coming late. This was because to some technical challenges we had to work out one or two things in the background. However, what is important is that we are here and we are going to continue with the program. We are sorry once more for coming late. Before I go any further, allow me to mention that we were supposed to have Pansaka on Thursday as usual, but we couldn't have it due to some technical issues. That's why we've decided to bring it today on Saturday when we are able to. However, I hope everyone out there, our viewers, you're ready for us, and you are also ready to engage with us, to share your experience, also to advise somebody who is in the situation that we are about to talk about today. We are a big team. My colleagues will keep on joining us as we go on with the program. At the moment, we are going to continue with the program with Bom Kelebai, who've just joined me in the studio. Bom Kelebai, welcome to the program, and please greet the viewers as well.
Good evening, Madam Himba, and good evening, viewers. It is good to be back on Saturday with our Thursday program, Pansaka. But otherwise, it's good.
Bom Kelebai, your friend, I don't know, your friend is being told, oza bwela pa nyumba, ozanu onongela chikwati. Why bwela pa nyumba? Why bwela pa nyumba?
Kambili, anyamata mina wakunda bwela pa nyumba or vasikana. It's not that they want to be quiet. They just enjoy your life. When they see you living a good life with your partner, you are happy, and when they compare what they go through, and when they look at you, you seem to be in heaven. They envy.
Kana kusunge bwino kabiri pe wenze nawo siwenze kusunga bwino after wakutenga banzaye.
Yeah, that's what happens. We learn through mistakes.
What mistakes, Bom Kelebai?
Yeah, sometimes even my comparisons, rather my compatible ngati wankala na iwogan that mostly if you look at my relationships nayo masikwano, those people are in stable relationships, that the people that they live with today are not the people that they started with. It's why, because they grew up and they realized, they knew the type of person that they would want to spend the rest of their lives with. So
What your thought, Bom Kelebai? Before we go any further, our viewers out there, the topic of discussion this evening, as you've seen from our advert, it says children born outside marriage. Before Bom Kelebai, it's like Bom Kelebai, he's ready to pull the trigger. But before he go any further, let me just introduce the topic. The topic of discussion, as I said, it's children or a child there who was born outside marriage. And when I'm talking about children or a child or somebody who was born outside marriage, we are looking at children in these following categories. The first category, it's the children who were born maybe from this man or this woman who had, or let me say, it's a man or a woman who had a child before they found their lifetime partner or before they were settled. Bali abana mayo bashitata baupirwe before tabalasanga omwana wabo, before tabalasanga ichi sankonde ekyakwikala nacho for the rest of their lives. These are the children we are saying. And if we go any further, in Tonga they call them bamwihanyina or bamwihaswa or something like that. Those are children whom we had before we got married. And the other category, it's the children whom we have outside marriage. Well, we are married. Bajabana betu mankala nabo ndife bokwatiriwa, although this is more common kuba muna. Bamuna amankala na bana outside nibo kwatira baliko na ka side chick kange vankala common manje. Buka side chick pambali baja bamuna bankalako na mwana. So we want to talk about those children. However, kange iliko tricky kuli bazimai, to talk about bazimai beba mankala na bana bali muchikwati, because iliko tricky kuprova. Kange mange na mocholo mwana nibambi. I know there are women who've got children vanankala na vana vari muchikwati, vankala na vana vabwera che, vankala vana vamuna vavo, life continues. That one is a very tricky situation, but we are going to concentrate more on those who are known. And however, we'll talk about it more on men's sides, because ndiye vamaziviwa to vachitata vari kwatako mwana variya vari vanamimbika uko, he impregnated somebody outside marriage, or I don't know how you're going to call it, but it's a child who was not born in a marriage arrangement. These are the children we want to talk about. So, Wamkeleba, do we have another category we are looking at?
You see, I want us to look at to actually take it into account that whether a child is born outside marriage or in a marital home, what is important, the underlying factor is that they are children, and at the end of the day, they have they enjoy the same benefits as of those children that were born in a marital home. Children knows no boundaries, knows no borders when it comes to categorizing them as those born in wedlock or out of wedlock. Children are children. It is only us, adults, that wants to categorize them. We want to categorize them to say, you are not a child, a legitimate child. Then we even end up calling them bastards. You are a bastard because you were born outside marriage. They never chose to be called bastards or to be born outside marriage. It's the decision that was made by their so-called parents. And that should not make them be vulnerable or be accountable. That should not make them to be liable or to be stereotyped or to be negated just because. Because turamona na kansambo lyamfwa aba baana tubeta abaana bamuma mufyani amamumbali. We have identified them, we have called them names, but that's not correct. Children are children, whether born out or inside marriage, they're all the same, and they enjoy the same rights as any other child on this planet. So my take on this subject is that it is okay to talk about it, because most of the children that are on the receiving end, those that are affected in terms of discrimination in families, are those that are purported to have been born outside wedlock. They're even cut out from inheritances, for example. They are not even recognized. They are not even they are not entitled to inherit what their parents had. For example, if the parent, the mother or the father figure was married.
Let me just come in before we get to the inheritance and the like from Kelebai. Also just come in as I like your introduction, and I like where you say every child, despite of how you came into this world, you are a child.
Yes.
Every child, despite what happened to your mother, to your father, you're still a child like another child. You have the same rights like another child. And I also like where you said they've got the same rights like another child. Like vajabana vanabadwa and like vajabana vakuti vanabadwa muchikwati navana vakuti vanabadwa outside marriage, because I just want also to add on that there are many reasons why some children were not born within marriage and they just find themselves in this arrangement where there's a family and you have found to maybe baja banakwatira bamai bako si batate bako, baja banakwatira batate bako si bamai bako, banakwatirwa kuri batate bako si bamai bako, but children are children. So all we are saying here, they are all children, and we are going to talk about this. These are sensitive issues which our society don't talk about. These are issues in our society which has made some children to grow with pain. These are issues that has made some children to lose their identity. These, because of some cultural values, some societal practices, they have made mwana sazba ma roots yake. The child doesn't know who they are, who they really are, why they found themselves in such a situation because of the society setup. But we are saying we are going to talk about it because these are the things that affect us on everyday life and their children. As we are talking, so panopeti kamba, if we go mu maleba wards, zapeza kulibana babadwa bakuti bamai bawo sibokwatirana na batate bawo sibokwatirana. Right now, as we are talking, there are children who have been born. These are some of the situations where, as society or as the world, we don't have control over. It's God's will. And when my parents, they have children in such arrangement, there are many reasons that happens. And putting the blame on the children, for me, I think this is why we are here. We are saying that child is a child. Allow that child to grow like another child. Allow that child to have another benefits like another child in this world. Because it's not their fault, it's not their choice that they found themselves in that situation. But because of some people who are cruel and selfish in society, they decide to use it against those children, to discriminate those children. Wamkelebai, over to you.
It is true, my dear. I understand, sometimes we just need, I still always blame the way we have been brought up, especially us in African setup. We have a problem, more especially when it comes to our Miambo. Most of our Miambo are the ones that have really neglected these children. And that's why we have a topic today, because Miambo, Zatu, Zambiri, you can tell that they are actually very discriminatory. A lot of Miambo, our customary laws, our customs, they are so repugnant and so discriminatory in their own nature, in a sense that ngatunabala abana kwinango baja bana babululu ba mukazi ujawa babululu ba komeno nabalira mwana. They are not even considered. They even won't consider the child that was born outside marriage as their own. They will even think that that child is an invade family out. And this is where the cruel behavior of stepmothers or stepfathers comes in. Stepmothers and stepfathers, you've heard how cruel. We have sung songs about Woma Wamutose in-laws, we call them stepmother, Woma Wamutose, Munyandisa. We've sung songs about how do you call stepmothers in Bemba? There's a very, very bad name given to stepmothers or stepfathers, in the sense that they do have a negative way of treating their stepchildren. They don't entertain their own stepchildren in their matrimonial home. They would rather treat their stepchildren, their own children, better, and give them good opportunities, and negate or neglect the stepchild. And especially when a parent of that stepchild, the biological parent, is not in the sight. Behind closed doors, children, especially when they are young, they can't talk. They are they are subjected to a lot of untold sufferings, a lot of torture, a lot of discrimination. And when they try to report to their biological parent, they are considered liars and they are considered bad mouth, bad behavior. And usually the so-called partner or the other parent will accuse the other parent of that child that is bad mouthing, so that so that person will come and take over, something like that. So there's a lot of drama, and the problem that is there is that naisevamuna, I will give a practical example. Isevamuna, because tili pa nyumba tili kumanchito, then pa nyumba unasiya mkazi wako na stepchild na mwana wako, who is the stepchild to that wife of yours, then you find the treatment is so unfair. That child is given a lot of house chores to do, and when that child tries to complain that it is too much, then they raises a red flag, and that child is bad mouthed to the father, and the father, since the father loves the wife, would always listen to the partner, and you find that that stepchild or that child that was born out of wedlock will start feeling so low, and then they end up having different bad thoughts or wanting to either leave, that they're being neglected, or they're blaming themselves that because they were born outside marriage, they were born from a different person, then they are considering themselves to be the fault, the causer, and then they start entertaining other bad, harmful thoughts in their mind. So that's why we need to be very careful, and we have to pay attention as parents, especially when you know that you have children that were born outside that marriage that you are in. You need to pay attention, give them time, and listen to their cry. Don't just listen to your partner, because most of the partners do not want to take care of the children that they found or were born from other marriages. They would rather destroy. It's just an animal instinct. You've seen in the wildlife what happens. A
Just
lion.
to add on, Bom Kelebai, just to add on what you've said, just to add on. You've talked about the way the children are treated in a marriage setup. This is where the at least Ababa Lupana, and they've brought the children to come and live with them. Probably this is the child of a partner, or this is a child of a male. Bamuleta munganda mulya kulioko baupwa kumbi bawishi balya katunga nkisa baya izi nga baliupa bambi balisanga babampia nga banyina balya, so bamuleta okisa mukwikala kulya kuchupo. Those are the children Wom Keleba is talking about, the way they are treated as parents were. My addition is going to come, I'm coming from an angle how such a child feels in a house, in a home. I'm going to talk about a child who the father has disappeared, is not in that child's life. Taba ishwaba wishoko baba, taba mwana ta ishwa, sometimes alaba kwate shuko ba kwatako fieshina. This child only have the name of the father. Probably they've never seen the father. They don't even know who the father are. And this father, I'm concentrating so much on the males because yes, they are females, abashabana babo. Kwali babana mayo, bali shafi abana bali ingira. For many reasons, Bambi, they had that child when she was young. Bambi, just being selfish. But more, it's lack of responsibility. Yes, they are women, but this situation is more on men's side. Men, they will impregnate somebody today. It's not every man. Yes, there are men out there who never leave their children, no matter what it takes. Even if he impregnates another woman outside marriage, when he's married, he's going to face the wife and say, look, mommy, I made a mistake and I had this child. outside marriage. I had this child, or I cheated on you. I had this child, but this child is mine. This child is innocent. And those are the children. Some men would bring those children in their matrimonial house. Those are the children. When Kelewai is talking about their treatment, but I'm going to talk about these children whom the father doesn't even know. But there are those men who likes bamimbika pamwe banaendera sibaziba nakwe mwana agona nave mwana akuja sibaziba nakwe mwana aendera ku skulu mwana. The father doesn't know. There are men like that, and nibambili. I want to talk about such men and what you do to the children. The moment you are not part of that child's life, every child in society needs a father figure in their lives. Every child in their lives, they want to bond. Every child, they are looking for a father who's going to be a mentor. And if anything, every child's wish is to grow up under the roof of two parents. But because of society and some natural happenings, it's in some instances it doesn't happen. But how do we look after these children? Imwe bawishi mwalipeera efumo ololimbi mwaliupa. You are a married man, you impregnate a woman outside marriage. What do you decide to do? You even decide not to tell your wife that you even cheated on her, because probably you're scared of the wife, probably you're scared to lose your marriage. Or you had a child before you got married. You don't even talk about that child to your wife. And you don't even know, as I said, what that child eats, how that child goes to school. This child is missing you in their lives. And your absence from that child's life, believe you me, it will make that child to feel less valued in society. And all the harshness of society is going to fall on him or on her. That child, they don't concentrate, they've got questions. And a lot of things will happen. And even umwana, ningaine badadi bali kuti banzanga bambwino batenga kuli badadi meanwhile bawishi bali echipyu balingira mujantemba baleya balepera baleya balingira mujantemba omubaya bawishi umwana tabamumona. They don't know. Such a child, what happens to them? They are traumatized. When they see their friends with their fathers, with their mothers, such a child is traumatized. A lot of things is going through their mind. A lot of things is happening in their heads. How is this child affected? Even concentration. Mukasanga ti umwana limbi mpia nesha ku skulu takwete, but bawishi bali kwate mpia. Bawishi is even doing well, but umwana tabale mposa kwa mano. You are going to find some men, they would even humanize, busy jumping from one woman to another, jumping from one woman to another. Meanwhile, abana balechula. These children, as Kelevai has said, they need love like another child. They need to be cared for like another child. They need support. They need financial support like another child. They need to be loved like another child. If anything, I'm crying out on their behalf to those parents who are not taking care of your children. Kuti mwana somewhere kwinangu is crying for your love. A child somewhere. And that woman we mnapasa mimba we mnasia, you don't know what that woman is going through wherever. Naye vafuna life ija yemuli nayo. And this woman probably mnampasa mimba, mwamutaba, and you know in our society, the moment you conceive outside marriage, society will condemn you. The fingers will be pointing at you. Samvela, anankala na mimba kaliboba. You know, without looking into your situation or what led to that. Some even women were just raped. They just found them. Sometimes they are even raped within their home. That's where they were raped. Maybe you're going to find even the people, the relatives raped that woman, and she found herself in such a situation. These children, despite them being born outside marriage, they need emotional connection to their fathers. They need emotional connection to their mothers to grow as responsible citizens, to grow up as another child. And financial support. The children need support. Vazimai mwe mkonda tiai inenzaka kulisa mwana wanga neka, I'm okay. Even if the father, you are making a big mistakes. You are making a very big mistake. If you know where to find the father, make sure the father supports the child. If it means you to drag him to court, drag him to court. Even if he's married, if you are sure that that's the father, drag him to court. Wamkeleba, over to you.
Well, that's a loaded advice there. It is true, actually. They say it takes two to tango. I know that you decided to focus on a man that has abandoned, or rather neglected, the child, okay, due to whatever reasons he may have, but that does not exonerate the man from responsibilities.
True.
But the child cannot fight the battle to look for the father when that person is still a child. It is a duty of a parent, the other parent, that is a mother figure, that should look at the interest of her child instead of her um, putting up a pride and decide to hold the bull on its own horns by herself. It is time that women should also take into account the issue to fight for their kids. Any man that has fathered a child outside marriage and knows very well that there is a child out there, but for fear, probably for whatever excuse or reason he may have, he decides to stay away from that child, the child. The mother of that child has a legal duty to institute legal proceeding, just like your last advice. Instead of taking decisions to herself and decide to look after that child on her own, but she can also take up a responsibility, a role of instituting legal proceedings against that person for child support or maintenance and affiliation. That's why we have the court system. You go to court and you sue. Sometimes there's a lot of us men, it's easy for us to reject the pregnancy, and it's easy for you women to dump pregnancy onto a woman, onto a man,
But it's not
when you know, even when you know, when you know that. Yes, you're saying.
vamuna mnachilamo ife vakazi ndife vang'ono, the percentage vamuna ndiye maculprits olwazivenza omugona mukazi azakamba ati awe ine sinimusiva vamuna ndimwe maculprits.
At the end of the day, it's the woman. At the end of the day, it's the woman who knows who the real father of a child is. The woman knows. But we have instances where women, sometimes they have no clue because they were also being promiscuous. They were jumping from one branch or one man to another in their lifetime, or the time when they were so-called single. They were in their peak. They were having relationship from one man to another. And then in that movement, then they happen to get pregnant. And you find the situation, we have seen situation where men have raised children that are not even theirs. And they only come to discover after. So that's why probably it is important to, the onus is also on both, of course, but the one that carries a child for 9 months, those are people that should also decide to put up a stop to this, to say, I am going to take action. I'm going to take a test or a DNA test or paternity test to ascertain who this father, if at all this man is refusing to be a parent of my child. So
it's very rare for a woman who catch up with our water as if which the picky.
No, but it is possible.
Nina mayo but vairangu vamunhu lwaziva ati mwana wake uyu vamakana.
It's true, you are right. But as men, we don't carry children for 9 months. It's easy for us to deposit a child in somebody's body to deposit the sperm in the child's body, and then we walk away. We don't know how that sperm is going to develop and to from an embryo to be a human being. We have no clue. That's why you find that the bond also to motherhood and child, it is so strong than the father figure. We only come to know when we have been told that this is your child, and now you see the traits, you see the
But even
features,
when you are
and
told,
then especially when you are not, you are not in any relationship, you just had probably a one night stand. Of course, we call it stands, but in those one night stands,
how long
be
does
a
it take
child.
to impregnate a woman?
I know it.
How long does it take to make a baby? Do you need 10 months, 50 months to make a
No,
baby?
no, 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 no. You don't. You don't need it. It takes just one
As
time.
long
One.
as you slept with that woman, if you can calculate, how much to calculate, and if you're not sure, end up DNA tests like manje kulima DNA. Dala ndiye
But you
kweve.
see,
Kati
you see, you see, my dear.
omwana kashi pali walilyako.
ili- iringirine ekirenga bawume balabako, or they even turn their back on. Ni it's the connection between or the relationship between the two, if the female and the male guy. How did they end up being together, and what happens? What's the relationship?
I
Have they?
disagree. Whether you had a happy relationship or not, as long as you had sexual intercourse, because because your relationship was not good, the way you met, as long as you had sexual intercourse, the chances
Yes,
of
that's
you
why.
bringing a
That's
human
why.
being on earth is high. So just be responsible of your own actions. Don't
That's
deposit.
why it is
Yes,
important. That's why it is important for the woman to take a step, because she cannot have all the responsibility to herself. Let her take up a step and proceed with the either demanding or asking for what you call uh, uh, support of that child. If at all the man is hesitant, because there are some men who are hesitant, yes. There's some men who totally reject, they just walk away.
don't try to use polite words. There's nothing to be hesitant. There are some men are selfish, some men are cruel, some men are heartless. If you're going to have a peaceful sleep when you know that you have a child somewhere and you don't know where this child is, you're just a cruel person. Unless, even if the mother, unless, I don't know how you're going to say it, but if you have, you're just a cruel person and you have no heart. And at the end of the day, you have.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm going to be. I'm always in support of women. I always support women, and I know what women go through, and it's a pity. It's sad that we have such situation that takes place. Of course, circumstances. There are reasons. Okay, there are a lot of reasons that pertain to men avoiding or rather staying away. You have mentioned some of the reasons that maybe men are scared for their current relationship that they're in, and they are not in there. They would rather take a step back. They don't want to step in. There are a lot of, and sometimes it's also location. Somebody has gone somewhere. Sometimes they can't find. So
Yes.
there's been a lot of circumstances.
Yeah, I totally agree, but we need to mention those circumstances and we need to make it to these men understand, or these women who abandon their children, that whenever you're doing, like you're scared of your current relationship, just know that you're a selfish man. And even the Bible clearly says in First Timothy that those people who can't take, I think it's in First Timothy 5-8, where it says when you can't take of your relationships, your blood relationships, then you are worse than a non-believer. Because if you're having ukudya nsima, so you know that I've got a child. You're even seated with your wife, your current wife. Ulina mwana somewhere, your current wife doesn't know. And the child, you don't even know where the other child is. You are worse than a demon for me. I'm sorry to say, but you're worse than a demon. You are so there's an innocent person you brought into the world because of your pleasure. Then you run away from your responsibility. Then you run away from your responsibility. Who are you?
It takes two to tango. That's my response to that. You should not just put a blame on a man alone.
So so yes, I'm already taking up responsibility. Basically, most of the times, as a woman.
But you have no choice. You have no choice because you have the child with you, and if you want, you can put that child on adoption. If you can't afford to look after that child, put it on for adoption.
Now,
but if listen, if you want to keep that child yourself and proceed with the parenthood alone, that's the choice you have made, not the child.
I can't find you where you are, Munatawa, and you are even sometimes you men, you even deny, say, I never had a relationship with you. The only challenge is that when you are having sex, I think will not even blame our ladies. Having sex,
witnesses. No, the thing is, we know we should agree that it is not okay to abandon the own child that you know of. Okay, yes, that's a well common known factor that it's wrong to neglect. Actually, it's a crime to neglect your own child. It is a crime. Also, it is also not okay. It is also a crime to, when you know very well, that if you engage yourself in this act with an individual of a male figure and you are ovulating, you will get pregnant. You will get pregnant. But you go ahead, because if you say, listen, if
we are not talking about a woman, we are talking about an innocent child who was born when
that's why I want us to put the child
innocent child
outside.
Should not make an innocent
omwana takwetta omulandu kuli issue. Okay?
So we are not
omwana takwetta omulandu iringirine abakwata emilandu bafyashi ba mwana. Okay? Yes, a father is to be blamed as well, just the same as the mother ought also to be blamed. Okay? In the first place.
For what?
In the first place, when you are not married, you should not have sex. Full stop. Or you should abstain, or you should use contraceptive. Full stop.
I have a problem. I have a problem. I have a problem. You are in this relationship. Okay, we are talking about a relationship. Let's look at a healthy relationship. If I'm in a relationship with a man, and this man, and it can be like in our culture, no na sex yes, sometimes we start, but but where I have a problem is we are in a relationship. We are in this relationship. You are making it like, because I'm in this relationship, nina family planning, nina chan. What about a man? This is where society, I think, is biased. Because even
no. I said it takes two to tango. Listen to that statement. It's not just a man alone, or it's not just a woman alone. No, I'm not blaming a man here alone. I'm not blaming a woman here alone. But that's why I keep on saying, the way you are putting it, you are trying to point a finger at the man to say everything. Of course, just because the woman is raising that child, that does not does not take away her action, that the wrong decisions, her choices that she made, and that she has to live with.
I totally agree. On that
Yes,
one, where a woman has to take the responsibility of looking after the child because she made a wrong decision, maybe to have sex,
that
unprotected sex.
that's why.
Yes,
Listen,
I,
that's
but when,
why. That's why the law protects women. Okay, when a man forces himself onto a woman, it is a crime. You will go to jail for either life, because you'll be considered a rapist. You have raped that woman and you'll be jailed. But if she allows you, she consents, okay, to have sexual relationship, sexual intercourse with that man, then that crime cannot stand, and it becomes a social arrangement, an agreement. Now, there comes a situation, because that having engaging yourselves in sexual activities has also its own consequences, good results or bad results. It's either you get diseases or you get pregnant. Okay? And if you get pregnant, there are also responsibilities that you need to take into account. You are bringing in a human being, not you alone, with that man that you've had sexual intercourse with. Now, the onus is on you. Who is going to maintain, who's going to keep that child to grow in your stomach for 9 months, in your womb for 9 months? You don't need to avoid contacting or looking after, or chasing, or finding that partner, that person. You have the right to look for that person. If at all he has run away, because no man, there are very few who would want to just jump into, who will jump and celebrate the pregnancy when they know that they are in a country that is struggling. There's challenges economically and a lot of things that are there, the challenges that are faced. So yes, so a man will always find an excuse to either run away from such responsibilities. But if you have cornered that person, please do not hesitate. Use your relatives, use your family, use your friends to get hold of that person, find out who they are, where they are, take them to court if you can, or report them to the police if you can, just because you're not doing that for yourself, for your own ego. No, you are doing it for the interest of your baby, that you don't want to raise that child alone.
Thank you so much, Mom Kelebai. Our viewers out there, we are in the studio, and our topic of discussion this evening, it's children born outside marriage, or children who are born before marriage. We are looking at the welfare of such precious children who've been injured or neglected by a selfish parent there, who've decided, or because of other circumstances, not because the parent was selfish, but because of other circumstances, they had this child when they were young. But we're just here to advocate for their well-being. However, Mom Kelebai, we've got two contributions from our viewers out there. This is from Mr. Nyerenda. He says DNA tests now is not trusted, because these people, they always say it is your child in order to protect the child. I am trying to think that maybe he's talking about the people who does the DNA test. They would rather DNA test wazaka, but iwe ni mwana wako, just for the child to have a father figure, for the child to have to protect the interests of the child. I think maybe this is, I wish Abia could come into the studio and explain more on this. But however, if you have a DNA test and they give you wrong results, whether it's in the interest of the child or not in the interest of the child, that is a criminal offense. They should give you the correct results for that child. Because even when they're protecting the child and by giving you those DNA, if that child is not yours, which means they're giving a forceful identity to that child. But Abby, I wish you could come, because I really don't know what angle you are coming from. Probably you are coming from a different direction. The second point, Vanyerenda again comes in and says, the point is, let us stop having children outside marriage. A lot of children are now in the streets. Street kids, yapa kamwandi. So he's saying, let us stop having children, whether before marriage, within the marriage, yange maside chick. Bana be babadwa maside chick bomukele bayi. Ndiye bali vulnerable.
Iyo yama children on the street, it's not because of those children are born out of wedlock or they are birthday children. No, there are a lot of we still come back to the same. Even children that are born in a wedlock, and children that have that have lost both of their parents, they are orphans. They may end up finding themselves on the street. We have children that are just rebellious, that have decided to just leave the good life that their parents have and decide to venture or dwell onto drugs, illicity, and then they end up on the street. That's the choice. So there's so many.
That's an opinion, or probably we may say it's one of the contributing factors, but it's not the factor. Maybe there are also children who
then we should have statistics to ascertain to that fact. But otherwise, I hear you that child neglect. We should encourage couples out there, or men, both men and women, to make some plans when they are having children, when they're making babies. They should have plans, and they should discuss on how they should raise that child together. However, this does not mean that a mother, just because she's the one carrying the child, then should bring up that child alone. No, they should actually be, it should be both parents taking responsibility together and raise that child. And if you haven't been in the life of that child, look for that child, find that child, and create the bond. And it's never too late. The only time when you are late is when you are 6 feet on the grave. You can still look for that child and have time to bond with that child after maybe years, even when they are teenagers or they are grown up. They have become parents, those children that you neglected and you found them. Find time to, you cannot hold a grudge onto somebody for years. You can still work things out together and still maintain the relationship, a good relationship with that child, a prodigal child, or you a prodigal father.
It's not a prodigal child here. Actually, in this situation, the father is the prodigal one, because the child can't even look at the father. That's the mother or the father who was absent in that child's life is the one who is a prodigal. A child is not a prodigal. I disagree with you on that one. However, I also want to make an emphasis, as Womkelevai has said, if you are a mother out there, please, even if you can afford to look after this child alone, please make sure you fight for this child's rights from the father or the mother. Even if you are very absent, if the mother is doing fine, even a woman has to pay child maintenance, because as you are growing up, as we are growing, we need somebody to look after you. And maybe you also meanwhile, it was only the father who looked after this child alone. There are men who've looked after their children alone. Women, they've gone dumped the children at their doorstep, and the like. They've dumped the child, and this man, maybe the mother has looked after this child. So if you find yourself in such a situation, please go to court. Make sure, even if this man or woman is not in this child's life, let them pay the child maintenance, because it will be so painful when this mother will come to claim the child when you were busy looking after this child, supporting this child, where are enjoying their life. It will hurt you as a man. As a woman, it will hurt you when this man was jumping from one woman to another, enjoying their life. I need my child. It's going to hurt you. You are not doing this for yourself. So your pride, you are not doing it for yourself. You are doing it for the child. And to claim the child, it won't hurt you. You will not feel the pain. But where you say, okay, I'll look after the child. Yes, you look after the child. But the day he's going to come back for that child, it will hurt you, and you'll be in pain and you'll be injured. And whether you like it or not, there's a time when a child, it also can be the child to say, I want to know my father. I want to know where I come from. And when that moment comes, it's going to hurt you. Now, there's another point I want to raise here. I want to talk about women who are married to men who've got children, or to men who had children outside marriage. You know, sometimes maybe bamuna vanhu sivanamiuze nuti vaina mwana kambiri vamuna siva makamba na vakazi valiko vese vakamba kuti vanabhala vakalibwe mupezani mwe vachikondi chamutima, you know, that this person had a child. You know, even when we are disclosing our lives before we get married, oh, nina mwana onedzacha venangu siva makamba anti umapezeka muchikwati. Please, my sister out there, or my brother, don't fight such a child. Ingandiwe mukazi. I know it's very hard. This is a bitter pill to swallow, but we need to talk about it. That child is innocent. That child is not even part of anything that happened. Ingaulina beef, fight it with a woman or fight it with a man. But what will it take? What will you benefit for you to fight the past? Me, my encouragement would be, if possible, make your partner to look after that child, to sponsor that child, whether financially. Kuti mwana uja should meet the basic needs. If simufuna omusunga munyumba kwe alili uko mwana pelekani maintenance. Tell your husband, mupelekelani maintenance kwa meno uko kwa alili, pelekani child support. Believe you me, that child is going to grow and a lot of things will come. Ingauja mwana saza punzila, or that child will not be financially stable, but that child will be a pain in your lives. Olo bajabana be muzabala imwe muzabala muchikwati muja mwabapunzi, because what usually happens that bana ba munyumba baenda kuma good schools, bapunzira very good schools, but uyu mwana wa outside marriage sai kapena saa endapo na school kapena hapo anyamyala mwana, then kuntangu uyu mwana akakula. Believe you me, azakasakila batate bake, and akawasakila batate bake, azakasakila na siblings bake, akawasakila ma siblings yake, he will start demanding for help. But make that child to be independent. And these children, whether you like it or not, this child has the right to this man. This child has the right to this mother. So whether muzamukana ishile mfwayo mwana tamwanjebele mwana wabo teti bamumine. You can't swallow that child. The procedure, vintu vinachitika kudala. Ngaba nami bisani takamba kudala ti there's cruelty, there's selfishness. You know, there are many things. But if this child is there, please look after that child. If you can't bring that child in your home for reasons, when you're in that house, you understand the situation, make sure that child has the basic needs. And if anything, even the case that is going to come, kumangalaka case because you neglected your own blood. The case bamuna bantu bayiseko kupeza nchito ivuta bayiseko kuchita ibisivi enda bwino, because there's an innocent soul crying somewhere and God is listening to that cry. Mukambo bwela na ma cases o mwamboona vintu sivichitika bwino mbanja mwanu or in your marriage, believe you me, even you as a wife, even you as a husband, you're going to share and you're going to suffer. But to avoid such things, and also for your own children, look after that child, make sure, look at that child as an innocent child. The problem we have, especially if such a child comes into your home, that child becomes a threat. Mwamboona po my enemies, mwamboona po ma threat. If anything, actually, ujamwana ingari kuliba mai bake, batete bake baina reason yo enda kuliba mai bake kendo baona. So mkamleta pa nyumba, so azanama niza endo na mwana. So basically, all I'm saying, look after this child for your own good, because mwana akapunzira sasa kafuta banzake, mwana akakala na good life, you will not trouble the children, and you will not even trouble you as a woman married. But whether you like it or not, at one point this child will come and this child will be part of your lives. And if you decide for now, because believe you me, you still have to swallow that bitter pill at one point or another. And especially wenzo muona mwana umuchita na igino, it will be more worse. Wamukelebai, over to you. Wamukelebai, are you there? So basically, okay, yeah, over to you.
Yes. No, you have said it all. I think it is important that isewamuna tikazinkalako honest na mafamilies yatu yamene tili nayo manje. That it is important. You don't have to fear to losing of marriage just because you have a child outside marriage, or you have had a child before you met your partner. So I think it is important to talk about these things with your partners, the current partner you're living with, so that they know, and then you are not caught unaware that day when, for example, you have died and they're reading a will, and then suddenly a child is mentioned that was not known to your significant other. So that's where the resentful and confusion rises. So it is important that you make mention of your other child or children that you have. Isebamuna moenda ni mwambili. Mukwenda mukunanga. Umomona mene tinari kuyenda eno. Sunga zive. Sometimes unagwirapo. Sometimes unapita mu shadow ya mkazi musikana mene then kupita mu shadow moja nkala na miba. You know what I mean. Muli bakulu bosa mene mumvera kuli programme. Mukazi uja, and sometimes you're not even planning that uja musikana uza nkala na mwana nae, or it was just a by the way thing, or you were trying to help yourself or relieve yourself, and then suddenly mwana abadwa. But that does not simply say
at one point mwankala basipe donor, then mwatenga mwana wabe ni muspemu account mwachita deposit because mwezo zishita release mwaenda.
Yeah, but that's just the nature. That's the nature. As men, we are hunters by nature. We want to impregnate as many partners and many women as possible. If there was a way, if there was no law to stop us from impregnating women, to have to be monogamous, to only stick to one partner, we could have fathered many children in this world. And we have men that have children, so many children that have gone around to just let nature take its own course.
And when the children grow up, that's
the thing about us.
You go and start demanding for, as a woman outside there, please, let's take these men to court. Take them to court. And again, what I don't like, take them to court.
The problem is amachushi nama questions nama analysis. What if turelanda patinga after nga wakota now wayachula takwete pakwikata pakumokoboko. That's when now abana walekana numba bawuka bahisa nempia wakakano kubwafuirisha. I know that's the way we have brought up to believe.
Let us be honest in life as parents, as elder, because also if I mean back to wingo balabala bana ndiye vilengezana vakuti bana ubala bana suba sunga suba ziba bana ndiye chilengezana bana bambo pese kati wakwatira na veka
I know. That's why
you start casting bana swani yeye bana banga ni nami balani. You've forgotten that you were absent in this child's life, and you never, and actually it's not only financial support this child needs.
It's not that we forget. We don't forget. We don't just forget about these children that we either have that we have outside there. No. Of course, we already talked about circumstances. They differ, but that's not an excuse. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and allow men that are not supporting their children, that have decided to stop, not to engage with their children that were born outside to not to engage them. To me, that's not okay. It's ungodly. It's unchristian. I think it's important that we try to come up with a new leaf and improve on that aspect. Let us. It's not something that is dangerous. It's not something that is going to kill you. If you take on another responsibility of your own, that will never kill you. That's your child. That's your blood. Take care of it.
On the
Go
other
ahead
hand,
and take.
it's not
Yeah.
only money that this child needs. It's not
Mhm.
only money that this child, your presence in this child's life, it means a lot. You just
Mhm.
you don't even need to bond. What is needed for you when you're spending time? You need to bond with your own child. You know, Mwana, you were absent in their lives the time they were growing up, the time they were going on through. You were absent. Then kukulu, that's when you want them to recognize you as a father. It doesn't work like that. That's not the way it works. Mzapeza Mana, they will not be able to relate with you as a dad. You've not been in their lives. They will not be able to relate to you as their father because you've not been in their lives. So to avoid such, just be responsible. And Bana, sin drama, it's not financial. Even for you, the child just wants to hear to say, Sunny, it will be well. My daughter, it will be well. My daughter, hi, my daughter, I love you. That is what these children would want to hear. Kwasira.
Mhm.
That's what they want to hear. And even to my fellow women, mwe mukamba tu mwana sini mufuna. If a situation such a situation comes to you, please don't use your heart, use your brain. Think through things because bamuna benangu, they love their children. Abwela kuza to nankalako na mwana outside marriage, then you even start giving this man conditions. It's either me or this child. Or nenze na mwana sinakuze. What's better than that situation? What do you do, my dear sister? There's nothing you can do about it. Now, as I said, Ujamwana sibaza mpaya, sibaza mela, that child is already part of your life. So you just make a situation. It's either to live with that man, with that situation, or you move out of that marriage. Because by you saying, "We mwana asabwele pano," believe you me, Mkeleba has said, you'll be shocked. Pa will, muzaka mpeza mwana uja. Mbena nguzapeza nukamba ti mukaliboni shika uyu mwana waso na so nina bana bali 5 yozi bababiri bali mu nyumba. Olo azadabwa banamuika pa and it will be a shock of your life. So live with reality. It has happened. It has happened. What should I do? Siningamusunge mwana, siningamusunge. Si mwana wanga sana niuze. My dear, you're wasting your time. That is his blood. When Bamuna, they will go and look after that child. Only Bamuna bajabakuti, siba pamwamba te wino sana, ndiye bazamvirela mukazi. But a genuine man, some they will tell you, whether I stop you from going to this child, I'll still go. This is my child can't suffer while I'm still alive. When they will keep quiet, but they'll do things, they'll process things for this child without you knowing. So it's even better, you just open up, okay, my husband, munang mulina mwana okumanje tuzachita bwanji. That is if you've decided to stay in that marriage with the child. Believe you me, if you pass at my threats, it's either whether this child or me, you are making a mistake because every child has a different position in your husband's life. You'll be a wife, you'll never be a child, and that child will remain a child in that man's life. So and so there's nothing. So just sit, use your brain, and resolve the situation in a mature way, and make sure you don't disadvantage this innocent child. Always remember, this is an innocent child. Very innocent. Sana sanke ukuta bad way. Sana sanke ukuta the product of two people who are childish. Sana sanke ukuta the product of a man who are reckless. Sana, this child is totally innocent. So select your battles and know who you fight with.
No, you are right, my dear. You are very right. I hope other men out there are listening, those men with children who they don't want to disclose about to their significant others, that they should think about their children and provide support that the children they may need. They may save money for those children, college fund, So when they go to college, they can actually, if they want to maintain and keep that child a secret, they can still do those things. It's up to, so it's they're adults. They can decide what to do on their own at their own pace, for as long as they are able to pay uh, 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 tribute to their kids and respect, acknowledge that their child is there out there, and they are looking into the interest of that child or children. They should go ahead and do so. It is entirely up to them as an adult. We cannot force you. We can sit here, talk about the do's and don'ts, the dangers, the consequences, the curses, the bad luck, all kind of things that we may talk about. But at the end of the day, the decision lies on you, a man who has a child out there that you need to either make a follow-up or save as much money as possible for that particular child. If at all you can't communicate with that child now, open accounts for that child, college fund, have trust fund for that child, so that when bad things happen to you, that
From
child will receive those things. So it's entirely up to you. But open up, go into that child, in that child's life. Open up, bond with that child, catch up from the moment, the times that you've missed, you've lost, make arrangements. Talk to the so-called your former partners. Talk to them. Find time to discuss matters. Not, of course, being ambushed, but you need to start from somewhere where you start a conversation in a very matured manner, because the more you keep on fighting, you as parents, you are not doing anything better to that child. You are actually worsening her situation or his situation. So the best thing you do is find a good environment where you can express each other and communicate in a very matured and reasonable way, so that you could find a solution of how you could go ahead and raise that child together. Even if you have come late, it doesn't matter. What
it's
matters is that child is alive, healthy, and doing well, because the mother took good care of that child. So it is important that you step in, take over. If anything, you as a man, you can simply take over to say, now you have raised the child for these years. Now it's my turn. I'll take care of this child until this child is an adult. You can still do that. So it's never too late. And do not panic. Don't stress. Do it the right way at your own pace, but do it correctly. That's
Thank you.
my advice.
Thank you so much, Mom Kileba. As we are coming to the end of the program, we still have one message from Wasimwanza. It says, it is sad some parents are not present in the lives of their children. In the lives of their children. There are many reasons why parents are not together. True, many reasons. You're right. Let us learn to be honest in our lives. Yes, we need to be honest by telling our partners where we've come from, what we've been through, and that we've got children. And this is from premarital sex. Manja premarital, yes, we need to. This is from premarital sex. We are so grateful for our viewers that have joined us in the studio, and would love some more viewers to join us, and would love to learn or to hear from your experiences, what you've gone through, what you witnessed outside there. Even how some of the children, they feel by not having a father. As you are growing up, you just have to see your father when you're grown up. Would want to hear how you feel. We also want to know would also want to share how it feels as a man Also to have a child, mugona my GXC, but you have a child somewhere there who can't even afford medical fees. Swanga na panado, mwana sanga gule panado. We also want to learn, how did that child survive? How did that child live? However, as we are coming to the end of the program, we would want our viewers, or we ask you to join us as a family so that we can educate one another. We can also, as I said, share our experiences. Bomukeleba, your last remarks under 2 minutes.
Lekeni okukana abaana mulefyala baana benu mayo mpapa nainenka kupapa mailo. Those idioms or those idioms, they are there for a reasons. So aba baana aba tulekana ati eko osuulile eka kofanoko Pirafine mwalesula hakainde ichilema lelo ni president ngali kwata bawishi akainde ichilema bamukanine lelo balya bawishi bale yuma mumutwe tirati ye mwamona ofe nachitile ofe nalufyenye mwaibukisha ishu ya bachiluba kafupi ba former president na bawishibo. These are things that are coming to fruition. So remember, amaka imwe nga yapwa amaka y'abaana benu oy'abaana besu yena olo aleyamba. So ekashitakano kene to fix up our problems at kwete, to find your children, bring them into your lives and engage them and love them as your own and treat them as equal as the other children that you may have. Remember, those are your blood. So it is best to be in the lives of your children, whether afyala kuchipuba or afyala kuba lwele or banyina bo balifwa. You are the parent who is alive. Do the right thing. Go and make amends to your children and to your other children born out of wedlock.
Thank you so much, Mom Kileba. Our viewers, as we come to the end of this program, I would say look after that child you had outside wedlock before you were married, or that child you have. Look after that child. Let that child also have their identity. Believe you me, by you being selfish, wanting to save that marriage or wanting your wife not to know about that child, you are actually punishing an innocent child. And karma will catch up with you one day. And also, when you are doing right with this child, believe you me, you are also doing it for your own conscience. Because you know that there's a child somewhere, your conscience is not at peace. Sometimes it's better you just be honest. Talk about the issues with your wife, or is it your partner? Tell them. Talk about your partner with these issues. Nalikwata omwana wange tete aleera ala panze tete aleerya alebula efyakulya ineni nkwata efyakulya. If you do right with these children, believe you me, it shall be well with you, and even your mind will be at peace. Chitamwakakate conscious. Not if you are kweba diamulipa pa deathbed elo mwatambo kulalanda lekeni ndande konoyu mie mfuaye konoyu anjeleleko. No, don't destroy the innocent lives of these young people. Please be part of their lives. Even to be part of your child's life, you don't need money. It's not only money. Yes, life without money is difficult, but if you can't afford impia, the financial support, if you are there, and the mwana knows that but my father loves me, believe you me, even when they grow up, they are going to appreciate you, that my father loved me, but he couldn't afford to give me the luxury which another father would have loved to give to their children, but he was there for me. Believe you me, they will appreciate and they will respect you and they will value for the rest of our lives. As we go, we are saying, do it for your own conscience and for that innocent life. From me, Himba Malambo, and the entire Ubuntu team, we are saying bye-bye and have a blessed weekend.